This is just a quick follow-up video for the New England IPA recipe video that I had done previously. So I've brewed a batch of that. I've got it right here. The yeast has already been pitched, it's done fermentation, and it's also just finishing up the dry hopping today, so I'm getting ready to keg this today. So just thought I'd talk a little bit about it. You can kind of see there's a layer of the hops that are just kind of floating on top from when I did the dry hop, and that's sitting there. The other thing you'll notice is the color, again, consistent with the style, a little bit kind of brighter, almost a bright orangey type of color. Also very hazy. Again, you're getting some of that haze from the wheat that we had in the recipe. The other thing I find is that on this one I actually went with the Vermont Ale yeast from Gig Yeast, and I find once that is pitched in there and it ferments for a while, it actually slightly changes the color. It actually kind of brightens it up a little bit, because that yeast isn't very flocculent, so you're not getting a lot of stuff settling out of suspension in the beer. So so I guess the next thing I'll show very quickly is I've recorded the gravity over time using my tilt hydrometer, so I'll show a quick picture of that next, so you can kind of see where my OG ended up and where the FG ended up, and we'll compare that really quickly against what we had predicted in the recipe. And again, you can find the full recipe documented in one of the articles that is meant to go along with this video. So hope this was useful, and if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch, and I'm more than happy to help out and answer. Alright, let's take a look at the fermentation graph. Okay, so here's the plot of my original gravity and final gravity, and how the gravity was changing over time as fermentation was taking place. You can kind of see, so the blue line is the gravity readings, the red line is the temperature readings. And you can see when fermentation gets pretty vigorous, you can see it moving around and spiking a lot. You can also kind of tell where I added dry hops. So I added dry hops partway through fermentation when the gravity hit about 1.02. You can kind of see the spikes that happened right here when I added the hops. And it's also as the hops start absorbing some of the beer and that sort of thing, you can see it starts interfering a bit with the readings, but once that starts kind of settling out, things get more stable. So in terms of where we ended up with the original gravity, we can see we started out at about 1.064, which is actually pretty good. If you take a look at what we had in the recipe, we were calculating an original gravity of 1.070, assuming 70% efficiency. So given that we got this, our efficiency was a little bit lower. It was around 64%, but that's actually quite good for the large grain bill that we had in the brewery. So I'm pretty happy with where that original gravity ended up. And then if we take a look at where things ended up at the end, we ended at 1.008, which is also pretty close to the target we were predicting, actually a little bit lower. I think we were predicting somewhere around 1.013 or so. So it actually went just a little bit lower than that. So I think our ABV of about 7% or so is what we'll end up hitting here. So so overall pretty good. So I think that's about it for this follow-up on the New England IPA recipe that we created on the brewery and brewed here. So thanks again. Bye.